Hi everyone, and thanks for checking out this video review. So today I thought I would do sort of a standalone movie review aside from my current horror franchise series, Child's Play. And I thought I would dip into my horror anthology collection, my large horror anthology collection, and review the movie Three Extremes. So yeah, this is a movie that I watched for the first time about a week ago or so. So I'll just kind of go through again the setup and the premise of these three stories, and then I'll give my thoughts on each story as well as the overall movie, which will that part will contain spoilers. I'll warn you before they come up in case you haven't seen this movie before. But anyway, Three Extremes is a 2004 anthology horror film consisting of three individual segments from different East Asian countries, following the concept of its predecessor, Three, from 2002, which I have not seen. So I'll just kind of go through the stories and give you the setup. So for the first story is entitled Dumplings. And it's basically about an aging actress, Mrs. Lee, who wants to rejuvenate her youth and beauty to attract the attention of her husband, Lee, who's secretly taken a mistress behind her back. And so she buys these dumplings from Aunt Me, a mysterious seller who claims to be much older than she appears. However, to her disgust, she learns something about the dumplings that is kind of, to say it's disturbing and gross is an understatement. I don't want to give. I'm going to just leave it at there for now until I go into my spoiler-free part of the review. But that's the setup for Dumplings. The second film is called Cut. Um, Basically about a successful film director who has to face a night of misery when an extra from his films, a man who appeared in five of his films as an extra, captures both him and his wife. And they play a deadly game, kind of like Saw. The segment reminds me a lot of Saw. The wife is a pianist and is gagged and trapped in a system of sharp wires at her piano. And the director is instructed to do certain things, including strangling a young girl that the extra met on the way there, else he'll start chopping off the wife's fingers. So it's definitely a cat and mouse game like Saw. And then the third movie, this one is directed by Takasha Miike, who's about the only name I can pronounce from these directors and actors. This one is entitled Box. Um, so Yoko, a 25-year-old novelist, Kyoko, frequently experiences nightmares of her past as a circus performer. Back when she was 10 years old, Kyoko worked as a circus with her twin sister, Shoko, and their benefactor, Hygata. Kyoko felt that Hyega was favoring Shoko over her when he praised her after a performance. So when Shoko was in training, Kyoka forced and locked her into a box and accidentally set it on fire, killing her twin sister. And the story kind of goes from there. So yeah, those are pretty much the setups. Now we'll get into the spoiler part of the review and my thoughts. So I'll give you 5 seconds to log off if you haven't seen this movie before, any of these shorts. Okay, so here we go with the spoiler filled part of the review. So overall, I thought this was it's a pretty solid movie, pretty solid films. Um, I'll kind of go through each one, I guess, and talk about them. Um, First of all, I thought all three stories were really well directed. I mean, which I guess isn't a shocker because they basically use like the best director from each of these East Asian countries or really well known directors anyway. So all the stories you could tell were well directed. The stories looked really good. The cinematography was solid in them, especially the third story, Box by Takasha Miike. Um, I thought the gore was good in the first two stories, especially the second one. The second one also had the best suspense and tension. I thought the acting was pretty solid in all three stories. In fact, I thought it got better as they went on. Actually, the third story, I thought the acting was really good. Um, I think the first film, the one about dumplings, is probably the most disturbing and the most gross because If you've seen the movie, you know what these dumplings are. They're made out of aborted fetuses, which me takes from a nearby hospital that has a secret abortion facility, as well as working as an abortion midwife herself. So that's just the idea that somebody would eat aborted fetuses as dumplings, that they make into dumplings in order to keep rejuvenating their appearance and their vigor for life is quite disturbing. Um, so yeah, I thought the first film Dumplings was, like I said, the grossest and the most disturbing. Not really scary, but well directed, well acted. The second, it's one that you don't want to watch if you're eating dinner or if you've eaten a meal or eating anything really. Um, the second one box or cut, I'm sorry, the second one cut about the man who's sort of kidnapped with his wife and sort of the Saw scenario by this extra from some of his movies. This one I thought was, I mean, I guess if they're, this one was the closest to horror I thought of the three stories. None of them are really particularly scary, but this one has some gore to it and some effects and definitely some suspense because you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out. And the ending of this one is really messed up, frankly. But yeah, I thought this one was good. The third one is probably the least scary, although I will say that the end of the third film has a really good twist with a really creepy visual. But overall, the third film I thought was the most artistic. It's beautiful to look at. With from Takashi Miike. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name. Now you know why I'm not trying to pronounce the other names. Um, but yeah, it's a very artistic film. I feel like, and it's got a great twist. It really does. I don't know. It might not work for everybody, but I enjoyed this story and I enjoyed the twist. And like I said, it's got a really creepy visual that kind of stays with you at the very end of the film. So, the only cons, like I said, none of them are really scary. There's also, this is more of a personal con for me, but there's really no connection or main story that links these stories together, which that's okay. I know not all horror anthologies have that, but I like them just because it feels more like a cohesive movie to me, as opposed to just kind of like three short movies that they threw together on the same film. And but again, that's just a me thing. It's not really a con, I guess, of the overall movie. But well, I guess I can pronounce. So Mike Takashi Mike, Fruit Chan, and Park Chan Wook are the three directors here. Takashi Mike, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know why they have it the other way around. And is it Chan Fruit or Fruit Chan? And then Chan Wook Park. I don't know. They might have the first name last and the last name first, but they're listed on the front of the film. So I guess those three names aren't that hard to pronounce. There's a few DVD specials here, but otherwise this is just it's a two-disc special edition DVD. Um, with there's a documentary on dumplings and some other special features. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Takashi Miike. So and then Chan Fruit and Chan Wook Park, I'm guessing. Chan Wook Park directed Cut, and Chan Fruit or Fruit Chan directed Dumplings. I apologize if I'm butchering those names. I'm not really good at names and how they're labeled there. But overall, I mean, it's a good anthology movie, probably a better anthology movie than a horror anthology movie. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Twilight Zone movie, where the stories for the most part are well done, although I would argue all three of these are pretty well done. Where the Twilight Zone, like half of the movie, I enjoyed, but there's not really a lot of horror or scares in this movie. But it is solid. They're well made. It's well made, well produced films. Um, so I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 on my horror anthology rating scale. It's solid. Not my favorite horror anthology, but it's none of the stories are boring, and none of the stories are fantastic either. I think they're all above average. I guess that's about the best way to sum it up. So, yeah, that's my review on Three Extremes from 2004. the horror anthology film. So 8 out of 10. Give me your thoughts in the comments below if you've seen this movie and what you think of it, or if you have any questions about it. Like this video if you enjoyed this review, and subscribe to my channel to see future movie reviews, including my ongoing horror franchise review and ranking series that I'm currently in the middle of for Child's Play. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.